Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. I am Donna, and I am the messenger here. The messenger that is to tell you all about something that lives inside of you by the hundreds of trillions. And I think that when people understand what's going on and they get a little bit of wisdom about what's going on in their bodies and what goes on to create the life that they have, when they understand that, it really changes things for them, because then they can apply new things. And when you have understanding about why you're applying those new things, it changes everything. And it's done that for me. And so most of my podcasts, or all of my podcasts, and my website at culturedfoodlife.com, my books are all about my journey with discovering that I was 100 trillion bacteria. And that 10 times the cells in my body, I was more bacteria than anything else. And it was affecting everything in my life. And when I started to understand that in a very deep way, it changed everything for me. And these podcasts, that's what I do this for. Because if you can understand it and then apply it, it just has so much more effect on your life, because you're doing something with intention and with meaning. And when you do those things, it changes the whole aspect of your body in a profound way. And your bacteria begins to work with you in ways that it never has before, because you're giving it the things that it needs. And so this show is an attempt to help you understand that in a really profound way, actually. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story. And my story began about 16 years ago. And that's when I really locked into and started to understand that something more was going on here than me just feeling bad. And at the time, I was 41 years old, and I had just had my third child. And she was born about 8 weeks early, and she was super tiny. She was 4 pounds. And I found myself in a whole new territory. I was trying so hard to help my little fragile newborn, but I was struggling with my own health crisis at the time. And I had diabetes, I had high blood pressure, I was struggling with just massive fatigue. And most of those things accompany the birth of a child, but it never really went away, and it got worse over time. And as it got worse, I just prayed and begged for answers that would help me and my child and the rest of my family. And much to my surprise, the answers came to me in the form of food. And not just any food, but probiotic foods, or these cultured foods that I talk about. And these little jars sat on my counter, and they were filled with living microbes. And I couldn't see the microbes, but they were in there. And they were adding vitamin C and vitamin B and massive amounts of probiotics to my food. And I didn't know that these foods harbored these billions of organisms that would soon make my body their home. They would fight for me with the force of a mighty army. They would become my constant companions, and honestly, they would make their presence known to me and teach me things that I could have never imagined. You know, we talk about angels all the time and how they're these unseen forces that help us, and I believe in that. But I also believe that the angels came to me in my foods, and by filling them with billions of probiotics that began to live in my body and live all around me. And most importantly, they live in you too. And they took a broken woman and healed her mind, her body, and my tiny little infant. And then they started to help my entire family and all my friends. And I just couldn't shut up about it. I was just so excited that I had found the answer to something that I had been seeking. Nothing has made me feel more loved and cared for than microbes. And those are the ones that live in me and in my foods. They were the answer to my prayers, and they heard me and helped me in a way that I never saw coming. And to this day, I'm so thankful that I got sick. It changed everything for me. It was so horrible how I felt. I felt so bad. And I can remember thinking, I'm not even living anymore. I'm just existing. But I have such a grateful heart for that sickness that propelled me to find the answers that not only changed my life, but changed everybody around me and thousands of other people. It is an exciting frontier now, as 16 years later, science is catching up with the things that I had discovered. And it is an exciting time because people are awakening to the fact that we are 100 trillion bacteria. And they're the most dominant organism on this planet. And they live in you and all around you. And they control so much of your life. And once you start to harness that power and start to understand it and work with it, wellness becomes the norm. You live your life in a different way. You're not running to the doctor. I never go to the doctor because I never get sick. I never worry about the flu. I don't worry about things. I know how my body works. And I know how my bacteria takes care of me. It sets you free. It gives you a sense of wellness that is rightfully yours, that you should have every day. It helps you to understand your body. And a lot of people don't understand the, gazillions of processes in the body that are going on every day. And these precious microbes that are making your body your own they're designed to help you, and they can affect everything. And we're just scratching the surface, guys, of what they really can do. Everybody in medicine and research, they're just waking up. I mean, I'm seeing study after study after study. It affects Parkinson's, it affects autism, it affects cholesterol, it affects kidney disease. It does so many things. The bacteria in your body is so amazing, and they're waking up to all the things that it can do. We've been ignoring this for so many years and really just mostly killing bacteria with antibiotics and antibacterial soaps, but we were forgetting to rebuild the good bacteria in our diets. And we've slowly starved them and destroyed over 30% of the diverse strains in our bodies. Many of them have gone away from overuse of antibiotics. And so many people are sick today because they don't have the strains they need to go about their daily life. For instance, a lot of food allergies is caused by a lack of certain strains of bacteria in the gut. Replace those certain strains of bacteria and food allergies go away. And I have seen this so many times. I've seen it in my own family with my own daughter and with the thousands of people I work with, that most food allergies are caused by overuse of antibiotics or something that has stripped the bacteria and that doesn't allow you to digest your food normally. Add that bacteria back in and your food allergies go away. It's pretty cool. So you are never alone. You have 100 trillion microbes in you right at this second, and all they care about is you. It is a wonderful plan to have designed you this way, and I am here to help you understand all of it. So let me tell you about Mary. Mary sat on the front row of my class, and I was teaching a cultured food class, and she cried and cried in the front row. And right after class, she came up to me and explained how much these probiotic foods had changed her life. She had terrible digestion problems, irritable bowel syndrome. She'd get colitis. She was having all these problems. She had really bad depression and a lot of despair, she said, on a daily basis. And when she started trying these foods, a year later, she completely transformed her whole life. All of her digestion issues went away, her IBS, her colitis, and she threw away her prescription meds for depression. She had a bunch of food allergies too. I forgot about that. And they were gone, and she just sat in my class and cried because she was grateful. And I understood that because I had been there, and I cried right with her. I mean, I know exactly what she's talking about, and I'm sure we looked pretty crazy. We were both crying in the front of my class. But the relief and joy that she felt, and the relief and joy that I felt, we just couldn't contain the joy. The tears just kept falling in gratefulness because, the grass is greener and the birds sing sweeter and people are nicer because you feel good. It's just the way that it works. When you feel good and you're happy, the world is a different place to live in. And she was experiencing that on that Saturday morning with me in the front of the class. And I just cried with her because I knew exactly what it was like to search and search for something, for answers, and then to find them, and then to have your life transformed. It is an amazing thing. And it's the wonderful thing that these little microbes that live inside of you, the little minions in our gut, it turns out that about 90% of the serotonin in your body is located in your gut. And everybody doesn't know that, but that's actually very true. And bacteria not only interacts with these neurotransmitters, but they also produce their own type of transmitting things that help our brain and our body feel so good. Certain beneficial bacteria, and these are some of the good guys, can influence GABA receptors in the brain. And these bacteria in the gut can prompt or inhibit inflammation in the gut and also elsewhere in the body. So they produce these chemicals that allow you to feel really good all the time. And people think it's going on just in the brain, but it's actually coming from the gut. There's a lot of science behind this now that's very, very interesting. For example, drugs that are serotonin reuptake inhibitors are sometimes prescribed for patients with irritable bowel syndrome. That's a very common thing that's happening now because these drugs are typically used to treat depression, but physicians have discovered that when they treat depression in patients with IBS, these patients find relief from their irritable bowel syndrome because it's going on in both places in their body. And when they take the serotonin reuptake inhibitor drugs, these findings have been confirmed with MRI imaging. It's really, really cool when I was looking at this imaging that they had done. And there is a clear relationship, guys, between gut function and brain function. And it showed it in these images. And that was something new that the doctors and researchers didn't know. So that they found that if serotonin is mostly made in the gut and it's a neurotransmitter, it's responsible for regulating things in your body like mood, appetite, sleep. And the right amount of serotonin in the brain produces a very relaxed and positive feeling. And since your gut bacteria helps produce this and mostly produces it, then you need to have more help from your bacteria to feel good. And not just feel good, but feel fantastic. And believe me, I have experienced this many times over. When you don't feel good, your gut is usually messed up. Have you ever noticed that? That feeling you get in your gut? Many, many people, and across the board, and I've done some other podcasts on this, psychiatrists are now really treating their patients' guts and trying to fix their guts before they start giving them any kind of drugs. And many doctors have gotten rid of the drugs because they found that if they fix the gut, then the psychological problems go away. And I have seen everything from IBS, colitis, ulcers, celiac disease, constipation, chronic diarrhea, and many other digestive disorders vanish after they start consuming these cultured probiotic foods. And it's an amazing thing what happens if you've got these health problems. If you can fix that, often not only does depression go away, but it's replaced with joy. And it is a fantastic way to live. And when you have enough of certain strains of bacteria, they work to repair the gut lining. And they make this kind of a protective barrier to keep out the pathogens. And what that does also is it helps reduce inflammation because they've got this protective barrier in there. And then they do something even more wonderful. They help you digest your food, and they help you to get more nutrients from the foods you eat. And when you get the nutrients you need, when you get your vitamin C and your calcium and your magnesium and all those nutrients, so many times some of the foods we eat, the vitamins and minerals are locked up in the foods. For instance, breads. If you don't make your bread with a sourdough culture and you don't unlock those enzyme inhibitors, you don't get the magnesium and the B vitamins from your bread because it's locked up in the grain. We used to sprout our grains. They would get sprouted in the fields. They would put them in the big sheaths, and they would tie them up. They'd leave them in the field, and they would sprout overnight because of the dew. Well, now we have combine machines that just take them right off of the stalks, and so they never sprout. And then we don't use sourdough cultures. We use instant yeast, which never allows the bacteria, which is in a sourdough culture, to break down the bread and allow it to release and unlock those nutrients. So what happens is you're eating something, you're not getting any vitamins and minerals from it, and it's irritating your gut lining. There's too much gluten in it. Sourdough helps break that down too. And so then not only do you not get the vitamins and minerals you need, you're eating something that you're not getting anything, but you're not getting any kind of value from it. And when you start to change your diet and start eating these probiotic foods, and if you're interested in that bread thing, you need to check out my blog this Sunday, June 8th, or tomorrow, June 17th. You need to check that out. That was the one I just did. It's going to tell you all about it, and it's going to help you understand why it's so important to pay attention to the way your food is made and how it's made to allow you to get the nutrients from it. When you add enough of certain strains of bacteria, this allows your food allergies to vanish because you're getting the probiotics you need, or the gut bacteria. There's a very large group of bacteria in the gut. Caladistrum, I think is what it's called, or I can't pronounce it. It's a long one. It's got like 100 different species in it. And it's the one strain they're putting back in that allows people's food allergies to go away. And it's abundant in these foods that I teach people how to make. And I found this with my own daughter when she had severe food allergies, and that if she had just a spoonful of, or just like a kombucha or a spoonful of cultured vegetables or kefir, just something with every meal, she healed her gut. Her food allergies vanished, and she had a lot of them. But she also discovered that she could eat anything. Everything that she thought she'd been allergic to, she could eat again, and the pain in her gut vanished. Researchers, and even me personally, I found that most food allergies are caused by the overuse of antibiotics and killing certain strains of bacteria with an unhealthy diet. And if you put those strains back into the body and do it at every meal, like I did with my daughter, the food allergies go away. It's an amazing thing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. It can take anywhere from 3 months to a year, but a small cultured food at every meal, and I see this all the time, again and again, the food allergies go away. And they work for you. They're designed to do this. All you have to do is feed your gut microbes the right kinds of bacteria and let them do the work inside of you so they heal you from the inside out. Gut bacteria is responsible for your immunity. 80% of your immune system is located in your gut. So if your gut bacteria is properly balanced, then your immune system is going to most likely function properly and help you ward off illness. And if you're getting sick a lot, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be getting sick all the time. And most likely you've taken a lot of antibiotics and you've not built your microbes back into their proper place. Your microbiome is out of balance. And then you struggle terribly because your microbes can't do the job they were meant to do for you. And I've explained this in other shows, but basically, this is kind of a real short recap. But you have T cell helpers, and they kill foreign invaders in your body. And then you have other helpers of these cells that they alert them. They alert the body that there's a foreign invader. And depending on how much good bacteria you have will determine how much of an army you have that will fight these pathogens that enter your body. And it helps your body to work more efficiently because the more T cells you have, the more your body can control what comes in and out of your body, fighting pathogens, keeping things in balance. But you have to have a lot of good bacteria to keep lots of T cells functioning and to keep everything running smoothly. One of the newest things I've discovered is how much these microbes can detoxify you. And I always really thought that, most of us think that most of that's done through our liver, and a lot of it's done through our liver. It'll detoxify heavy chemicals and toxins, but the bacteria in your gut does 50% of your body's detoxification for you. And it's really interesting how it works. For instance, bisphenol A, a toxin linked to over 40 diseases. And this is found in things like thermal printer receipts, paper money, canned food liners, dental composites, plastics. And it's a very powerful endocrine disruptor. And it's found in everybody's body. Everybody has it. But the two common probiotic strains, which is Bifidobacterium breve and Lactobacillus casei, have been found in research to help the body detoxify itself from this particular chemical by reducing the intestinal absorption of the chemical. You don't absorb it. when you have this kind of bacteria in your body. It just passes through your body. And not only that, but good bacteria in certain cultured foods that I teach people to make can detoxify the pesticides in foods. For instance, I'm sure you've heard of kimchi. It's a cultured vegetable. It's one of my favorite cultured vegetables and has been identified to degrade a variety of at least 5 different chemical compounds. And okay, I could tell you the names of this, but I'm absolutely sure I couldn't pronounce them and say them right. But it degrades this chemical by 83.3% after 3 days of fermentation on your counter before you consume the kimchi. So if it's in your vegetables, it degrades it. Well, when you eat it and it gets in your body, it starts to do that inside of you. And then another study they did on kimchi found that it contained a certain strain of bacteria that's capable of breaking down sodium nitrate. And sodium nitrate is in so many foods, and it's linked to a variety of chronic degenerative diseases, including cancer. And this study found that a depletion of sodium nitrate was by up to 90% occurred in this kimchi. And sodium nitrate becomes toxic when it's converted into food products, but bacteria can degrade this chemical. And it's really interesting. The 4 strains that do this, they're lactobacillus based, but they break it down. And I think it was Lactobacillus plantarum, it was Casei, and there was, I can't remember the other 2, but they were the ones that were capable of breaking down this toxic compound. And it's also huge in detoxing us from heavy metals. And that's a really difficult thing for the body to do. And heavy metals can damage our cells. And we don't even know that's happening because if the bacteria in our bodies is doing its job, we don't know that's going on. That's what's so cool about this, is that these certain strains of bacteria, and they're just in these cultured vegetables we make, and also in kefir and kombucha. And what they do is they break it down for us. And they allow us to detoxify just while we go about our day and just by eating some of these foods. Perchlorate is an ingredient found in jet fuel. And they also put it, I think, in fireworks. And it widely contaminates the environment in our food. It's everywhere. And even organic food has been found to have concentrations and actually high levels of this toxin because they can't get it out of our environment. And it's really getting extremely difficult to avoid exposure to it. But another bifidobacterium is capable of degrading this chemical. And it's a pretty strong one, and it's able to break it down and remove it from the body. And I just think that's so cool. So here we have this environment that is loaded with chemicals and toxins, and we do our best to avoid it, but you just can't because it's everywhere. And yet the bacteria in our bodies can break it down. And if you haven't seen when they get the spills, the oil spills in the ocean, they use bacteria to clean it up. And it does it really fast. They have certain strains of bacteria that consume it, eat it, and clean up the water. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. Well, that happens inside of us too. We have strains of bacteria that can consume and they're here to help us. I mean, think about this. If you're 100 trillion bacteria, that's 10 times the cells in your body. And bacteria is the most dominant organism on this planet. Don't you think that we should pay attention to that? Don't you think that's important? That there's a reason we were created this way? There's a reason that our bodies are more bacteria than anything else, and they're here to serve us. We just lack the wisdom and understanding on how to harness that power and how to work with it. And they do the work. They'll do the work for you. You just got to give them the fuel to help them grow and multiply and give them the strains. And to do your best to feed them and stay healthy. So let's just fix our guts with lots of healthy microbes. And then let's just let them take care of it for us instead of worrying about it and trying to eat perfectly and keep everything out of the environment. Let's still try to clean up the environment. Let's still try to eat healthy. But let's add this measure in and let's do it all together. I can't even pronounce all the crazy chemicals out there, but I sure do love my bacteria. It will do for us what we can't even do for ourselves. And if you eat lots of probiotics and prebiotic foods, they're going to do the job for you. And I have 3 foods that I really love that I think work the best. And that's kefir, which is a fermented, either non-dairy or dairy product that is fantastic. It has 50 plus bacteria in it. I have cultured vegetables, which has one of the most powerful bacteria in it, Lactobacillus plantarum, which absolutely will degrade chemicals and pesticides that will help you so much. And it's just in one spoonful. One spoonful is as much probiotics as an entire supplement bottle, and you just need a spoonful. And kombucha has wonderful properties that assist the liver in detoxification. It can boost your mood. It can help you with adrenal stress. It can help you with so many wonderful things. And they're just food, guys. And I call these the trilogy because these 3 foods have changed my life more than anything else on the planet. I love to add lots of prebiotics in the form of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. And prebiotics are fertilizer for your bacteria. They make them grow and multiply and get stronger. I make this easy, guys. It's my lifestyle because I need it to be easy for me. And so I make it easy for you. I am constantly redoing stuff on my site to make it even more easy for you, but also fun because it's not hard. It's just new for you. And these foods will convince you. I don't have to convince you. I'm really just the messenger here. Your microbiome will start to change and you'll watch it, see it, and then you'll be convinced. And I don't have to convince you because your body will show you the way. I'm just giving you a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of heads up, and then I just teach you how to do it because it's fun. I do it every day. I mean, I make kefir every day, and you don't have to. You can make a bunch all at once and let it, only make it once or twice a week or once a month, and you can have a bunch because it lasts in your fridge. You can do the same with cultured vegetables. I only make them once every couple of months because they store for 9 months in your fridge. And kombucha, it's just easy, once a week. And they're just habits that I've created that have changed my life and have set me free. You guys, I don't have doctor bills. I don't get terribly sick. I mean, my family stays healthy. I don't worry about those things that consume a lot of people's lives. Think about it. What if your body stayed healthy all the time? How much energy would that save you? What would your life look like if you weren't afraid of that or if you didn't get sick anymore? It's awesome. You would love it. And I want that for you because I know that it's possible. It's just that very few people live that way. So these are just a few of the things. Check out my website, guys, at culturedfoodlife.com. If you want inspiration, if you're not ready yet, sign up for my weekly emails. Here's the deal. I give away stuff every week on my weekly emails because I'm trying to encourage the world to eat these foods. So I pick 3 winners every week, and I give away cultures and memberships, and I do stuff just to help inspire and encourage you because I know even if you don't make these foods yet, even if you just read my emails or just listen to my podcast, you'll eventually succumb. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. It's kind of over for you if you're listening to this because eventually it's just going to bug you till you do it because you're 100 trillion bacteria. It's what's keeping you well each and every day. You can't even breathe without bacteria. And it's calling you or you wouldn't be listening. It's seeking you because you're seeking wellness. And so this is the way that it can come to you. Check out, these foods at the store. They're at health food stores. Look in the refrigerator section. They're living foods, guys, that will live inside of you and make you their home. It's cool. It's cool how it works. And I am just the messenger here, trying to help and spread the good news that your body knows how to be well. It does. It knows how to be well. And you can live a life of joy and one that is filled with wellness, and it will spread to others and it will change your life. So have a wonderful week, and thanks for listening.